One of the most important things in this episode is the actual storytelling, the way they uncovered the narrative. I was expecting that this entire series was going to end at the beginning of their chapter 2, specifically the solo activities. Instead, they weaved in the seven members' contemplation of their solo careers and the start of their preparation of their solo careers into their activities as a group. I guess it's chapter 2, not book 2. As a filmmaker myself, narrative is very important to me and its exposition. As the story nears their solo activities, I expected they would actually exhaust the last 3 series of concerts BTS did as a group: Permission to Dance LA, Permission to Dance Vegas, and BTS is yet to come. Instead, they started introducing BTS members in their solo world. They even included a glimpse of their homes. That's a clear device used by filmmakers to establish someone's individuality. Initially, I thought it was a sloppy storytelling. It took me a minute to actually realize it was actually me who was foolish to even expect that. After all, they made it plenty clear that their solo activities is actually a part of their chapter 2, not their book 2. It's part of their whole story, a story they are writing, controlling, structuring, and owning.
Hi, Chapter 7, the formal introduction of Chapter 2 in the series. If you end up liking this video, please consider liking it. Of course, subscribe and hit that notification button so that you know when there's a new video getting published. And share the video if you can. Okay, on to the video.
Their motivation wasn't desperation, it's humility. Many successful artists and entrepreneurs draw from their desperation to succeed. Many of them literally depend on their last chance of success for their lifeline. That's why I wasn't really expecting a whole lot of depth in their solo activities. I thought they won't have a lot to draw from considering they have success in their back pocket. They are already globally recognized. When your basket is full, where will you find the grit to actually keep on moving forward? That's actually what makes their solo albums, and in Jin's case, solo song, even more impressive. Each of their solo ventures still have the depths of a million-year-old mythology. It was halfway through the episode when I realized what the motivation was. It wasn't desperation. It was humility. They are, by all accounts, living legends, but their fullness is actually in their unit, not necessarily as individuals. While they could have simply basked in their own kingdom, as many do, they opted to examine who they really are without the crown and without the company. If they want to strengthen their kingdom, they have to be stronger individually. After all, kings don't rely on their family. Their family relies on their kings. Solemnity of real friends who care.
As the story moves closer towards establishing their individuality, there was an incredible amount of solemnity instead of chaos and parties and bars and clubs, which actually surprised me because I thought like they're young and popular and rich, and so I thought there'd be like an avalanche of parties and bars and clubs to go. Instead, they lean towards, at least based on what they're allowing us to see, they lean towards intimate friendships and intimate events and work. Now, they are young, they've probably been there, and that's their right. So again, there's nothing wrong with going to those places. But just for context, here in the US, tabloids, media companies, entertainment companies, paparazzis would actually have eyes and ears in clubs and bars and different places. And so if a celebrity shows up, they get a tip. So that's why K-pop celebrities or celebrities in general, they get photographed or recorded when they are in those places. It's because of those planted people or paid people to give tips when they actually appear. So the price on BTS's head is pretty high because they've never been to those places. They were never photographed or videoed going to those places. But they seem to be very, very careful in choosing the kind of company that they will keep, that they will allow in their vicinity, which is good for them. So that's my main point, that they are able to protect themselves, to keep their private lives private, so nothing goes out. I also like that at least the message that they're trying to put across is that they are, when they were given the freedom from their responsibilities as a group, and just the freedom to do whatever it is that they want now that they're pursuing individual careers, they still opted to go back to work. That was the priority. And again, the intimate friendships that they've had. So I think there's it's so much more progressive, right? There's much more progress in that. There's nothing wrong with going to parties and clubs and bars, but there's also a lot of people there that would try to put them into trouble, especially a group like them. So I admire that they were able to build a wall around them strong enough to really protect their privacy. And I hope that other people will see that they are using their free time to grow as artists and not just to have fun. And there's nothing wrong, again, there's nothing wrong with going to parties and getting drunk or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But with their stature, they're able to keep themselves safe because they know they have built a really good wall around them that will protect and cherish their privacy.
Complacency is a sign of arrogance, the start of failure, and the proof of inadequacy. Watching the choreography of Run BTS, you would think you are watching a boy band dancing for their next day's meal. Suga said it was very important for them to go hard, make sure they still got it after 10 years. They know that they could just stand on the stage and ARMY would be just as happy. But they opted to go just as hard as they did 10 years prior, when they were sharing one bedroom in a small dorm, when they were unsure whether they had to move out of the apartment, when barely 50 fans showed up in their post-show event, when the company supporting them was on the brink of bankruptcy. They weren't just performing like rent was due. They were performing like there was a gun to their heads. Remembering emotions, nothing compares to the excitement and elation of discovery. When you first get into a career or a new relationship or even a new house, there's something about experiencing something for the first time that brings out the best in you and brings the high in you. But as routine sets in and the novelty wears off, so does the happiness and excitement. Some actually spend their life chasing that excitement, and when they can't, things fall apart. But that's the problem, the impossibility of actually remembering emotions. If only we could, then maybe we would be able to take care of our relationships way better, or thrive in our careers way better. So when Jimin said he doesn't want the emotion to fade, it was both mature and scary. Jimin had the awareness that the key to sustaining their energy and desire to keep on going relies on their ability to hang on to their emotions because it's what fuels them forward. But the question is, how do you remember an emotion? That's when Taeyong came in. The secret is each other and ARMY. V said that they pushed forward no matter how tired they were by doing it for two people. Actually, two sets of people, each other and ARMY. Not that it's easy. While it's obvious they actually love each other, love is always never enough. There's gotta be more than that. And I don't know what that is exactly. I can only interpret based on the videos that they allow us to see. They tend to bring out the best in each other. They tend to move in perfect synchronicity. When some are down, the others pick up the slack until they are back again. They seem to truly admire and respect each other, almost with that kind of awe you only see from kids looking at their parents. And they seem to trust each other deeply. Back when they were all struggling, what made them continue going was each other. It seems that that is the secret if we want to thrive in our relationships, romantic or otherwise. It's by making an effort to never let that excitement and happiness go. And you do it by finding the right people to do it with. You live your own life. I'm the one living my own life, Jungkook said. Such a simple statement, but it could also be the foundation of someone's growth. Whatever we choose to do with our own life, no one else will suffer the consequences but us. If we choose to be miserable, no one else will be miserable but us. If we choose to fight, no one else will have to spend the energy but us. And if we choose to love, no one else will feel that purity but us. So let that sink in. We live our own life. Whether it's ambition, happiness, relationship, or whatever else, it will be up to us to choose what will shape our life, not someone else. Whether we spend our life working for one thing or jump ship every several years in search of the fastest way to our desired destination, we will dictate that. That's our Magnus mind for you. Seemingly simple, but beautifully complex under the cover. But also, we should never think that we can choose everything and actually have everything. We can have the wages of our work, but not what we think we deserve. This leads me to the next point. For every breath rising high, there is a low just as deep. Nothing is free. For each thing you will gain, you will lose more, if not just as much. You can never be happy without going through despair. You will never be successful without sacrificing people, yourself, or others. You will never get something unless you let something go. BTS, just like many other celebrities, actually makes it look glamorous. They make it look cool. They make it feel doable. But they paid a big price for that global success. From mental and physical health to people who couldn't be in their life to experiences they will never be able to have. Their success isn't free. No one's success is free. It's just a matter of choosing what you're willing to give up. BTS practically sacrificed their youth, time, health, and for 10 years, solo careers. Others sacrificed their dignity, identity, and decency. And then they live apart.
So prior to them telling armies they were now living apart, there were talks about members buying their own properties, which was not surprising considering many of them are already in their late 20s by that time. Of course, they were going to live alone. They would want to live alone. What was surprising is that they did it late. I thought like before the 7th year they would start doing it, but they waited so long. And I was surprised that many, I guess, haters or solos started talking about how that is a proof that they are not that close. That has nothing to, I mean, I have a lot of friends that I love dearly and I know will remain my friends forever, but I can't live with them. Those two aren't always connected. We also really don't know how close they are apart from what they allow us to see. That's our only basis, but we don't, I mean, for the most of us, we don't know them personally. I mean, but based on what we see, the love and the friendship and the bond and the respect and the admiration that they have and the commitment they have for each other, that's stronger than most of the ones that we will see on many families that are actually connected by blood. The other thing that living apart actually allowed them to do is to actually prove that they're actually closer than we think, because even though they're living apart, they don't have to be together anymore. They were still spending a whole lot of time together. So that only goes to show that even with the option to not be together, they still choose to be together. Last is that Jimin said something that was so relatable and so admirable, actually commendable. He said that it was him, Jungkook, Jin, and Suga who were the last to leave the dorm. But when he started living alone, it kind of felt odd that he was alone. And I thought that's exactly what we all feel. I mean, for those of us who have gone through the same process, like you're struggling to establish your own identity, you want to live alone, make your own decisions, and then when you're given that, you start questioning whether it's the right thing for you or not. but and more importantly, he didn't actually romanticize either. He did not romanticize living together, and he did not romanticize living alone. He said there's pros and cons in each of that situation. So that's commendable because he didn't paint a picture that would give us false image of what it is to live alone or to live apart, live together. Just to answer the question that I posted in my title, who is it that they consider to be competition? Because Suga said twice or three times in the video that he has spent the last 10 years of his life in competition. It has actually allowed him to get to where he is, but he could also be enjoying the process more. Now, the thing about the Korean language is that it is highly contextual. A lot of times they drop the subject, and so it's up for you to interpret what it is that they're saying. So this is just based on my own interpretation. I don't think he's referring to anybody in particular. I think when he says competition, it's sort of like a race, like they're trying to continuously get to the next level. So it's more a competition against themselves, against the expectations that other people put on them. So, but nobody in particular. So that's my interpretation. And if we're going to be honest, there's really nobody who can compete against them. So, all right. If you ended up liking that video, I really would love to. Before that, I really would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to know what stood out the most to you in this episode. Please share them. You can say whatever it is that you want to say. Just say it respectfully. And then if you ended up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe and hit that notification button. And share the video if you can. You can also get in touch with me in any of the social media links that you see on your screen right now. And see you back in episode 8.